Revision is what takes your book from ho-hum to amazing, because you really start layering in all of these different things that make it incredible. And in this 3-part series, I'm going to talk about 9 different things you need to look for as you're revising and exactly how to do that. All wish we could write a perfect book the first time out because, who likes homework? But revision can be a powerful tool for you as a writer. And it can be kind of sort of fun if you look at it as your opportunity to take your book to the next level and really dig in deep with your characters. So where do you start in revising your book? How do you know what needs to be revised and how exactly do you fix it? Because if this is like your first book or even your 5th book, sometimes you might not actually know what is wrong with the book. I remember doing that when I first started out writing, and I didn't know how to fix it because I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't understand how to analyze my book and tear it apart. And plus, I was super close to those first manuscripts that I wrote and thought, these are beautiful. I don't want to touch them. I don't want to ruin them. But really, I needed to completely tear them apart like a jigsaw puzzle and then rebuild them. Kind of like the Bionic Man, right? The first thing that most people tell you to do is set the manuscript aside for a month or 6 weeks or whatever, and then come back to it. Okay, I'm almost always on a deadline. I'm almost always cutting it really close, and I don't have a month to sit around and wait for my book to marinate before I come back to it. So most of the time, I start on revisions right away. My process, and it doesn't have to be your process, we all have a different process. My process is to write a third of the book-ish and then go back and revise, because I have met these characters kind of like new neighbors. No matter how much I plan them out on the character master plan, I don't know them truly until I start writing them. So I get about a third of the way in, I go back and I revise and I figure out exactly what the plot's going to have happen. And then inevitably, I get to the 2/3 point and I get stuck and the plot's not moving anywhere and I'm just writing the same words over and over again and nothing's happening. You know how if you drop a stitch, the whole knitting project goes sideways and your Afghan becomes a shawl? Well, that's what happens with my plot. And so I have to go back and revise and figure out what went wrong. And then my third revision happens before I finish the book. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I don't know how the book is going to end when I write it. I think I kind of sort of do, but I don't really know how it's going to end. So I write the entire book except for the last scene. Then I go back and do a full revision of the entire book, because here's, for me, is the cool thing that happens. My subconscious has dropped all these little breadcrumbs along the way that tell me exactly how the book should end. It sort of allows me to go in and kind of scoop up all the pieces of the character and the plot and make sure I've got everything all tied together in the end. And then I will spend like a week on that last scene because I really want that to be powerful. I don't set it aside for a month, but if that works for you, go ahead and do it. The first thing you need to do, and it's pretty crucial and it may be eye-opening because the first time I did this, it was for me. I want you to go through every single scene in your book, and at the top of it, I want you to list the point of view character for that scene, and I want you to list their scene goal. You know your book has an overarching external goal for the character, something that they want to achieve that takes a lot of steps. I've done a ton of videos on it. Check out the Fiction Foundations playlist for those. Whatever that overarching book goal is, there's a bunch of little steps that feed into it that create the plot. So your character should have a goal for every single scene. When you're writing, you should be writing with intention, so that you are intentionally putting this goal in front of the character and giving them something to do towards what they want to achieve. So look and see if the character has a goal. And if they don't, then that's something you're going to definitely have to fix. Once you figure out what that character's goal is, the second step is to go through those same scenes and figure out the character's motivation. Why do they want to do this? And with this one, I want you to go a little bit deeper than just the external. I want you to look at the emotional reasons why they need to do this. So let's say that your character needs to sell the family home and move to Idaho and start a business. And one of the steps to getting the house ready to sell is to go through everything in it. And there is a box that your character has avoided looking in for the last 20 years. So obviously you're going to have a scene where the character opens the box. You got to know why the character doesn't want to open it and does have to open it. Number one, the external motivation would be because they have to clear everything out of the house in order to sell it, and they don't want their personal items in there. That's an external motivation. It's a physical, tangible sort of motivation. But their internal motivation, it might be tied into the traumas, insecurities, and anxieties that they have. There may be something hidden in there that they don't want to deal with. There may be a secret for the family that they just want to ignore, or there may be a history that they don't want to revisit. Whatever is in there, that feeds into the motivation. You need to know this for every single scene, because one of the things that I find writers don't do is bring out the motivation for the character. We need to know why they're doing it. They need to know why they're doing it so that they have a reason to exist on the page. When I talk about writing with intention, that's part of it. The character has an intention and they have to do the steps it takes to get there. The third thing you want to look at is the conflict. Every single scene needs to have conflict. And frankly, every single page should have conflict. If you don't believe me, go back to this masterclass from scenes and look at how I highlighted the conflict. Every single page in the scene that I showed in that class has conflict on it, because conflict creates tension. Tension is what keeps the reader turning the pages. They're in their gut thinking, is it going to work out? Is it going to work out? Because if they completely succeeded, the book is done. So you've got to throw a lot of roadblocks in their way. I know you like your characters. I get it. But they have to overcome a lot in order to achieve it, because then the reader is going to be rooting for them. So go through your scenes and see if there is a goal, motivation, and conflict for the main point of view character in that scene. And if there isn't, then you're going to have to turn to the second video to find out how to fix it. And in the meantime, check out this video on how to create really compelling scenes from start to finish.